Fire up the griddle because you're gonna want these. Check out that crispy crunch. Today I'm gonna be whipping these up on the griddle with plenty of cheese, seasoned beef, and all the toppings. This plate's getting a little heavy. I need to lighten it up a bit, so I'm gonna eat. You guys can watch the recipe. So to get started, all we need to do is prep. I've got about a pound of ground beef. This is 80-20. And then we're just gonna wanna cut up a jalapeno and half of an onion. So let's go ahead and get that going. And how we're gonna use these is that we're actually gonna go ahead and saute these diced up right with the ground beef. And if you're curious, this is actually how I make ground beef tacos all the time for the family at home. My kids love it, I love it, and there is a little trick to make sure that they taste really nice and juicy. Let's just get this in the bowl over here. Okay, and then I'm going to use the whole jalapeno. And I'm going to use the seeds and everything today. I want this to have a nice kick. If you want yours to be more mild, you can leave out the seeds or swap out to a different pepper like a poblano. And since I didn't use gloves, I'll have to remember not to touch my eyes. All right, so we've got the jalapenos and the onions. Now we need some cheese. Now today I'm going to be using some Monterey Jack, and you can use whatever cheese you like. A lot of times we'll use cheddar, which is what the kids really enjoy. This is a nice melty cheese and just goes really well with all those Mexican flavors. Always grate a little bit more than you think that you're gonna need, because man, if you run out when you're in the middle of cooking them on the griddle, that's gonna suck. Okay, so let's get everything ready to take outside. We've got the peppers and onions, the ground beef, the cheese, and then we have some tomato sauce as well. So this is kind of my secret ingredient. This keeps the ground beef really nice and moist, not dry. As far as tools go, you're also gonna need a little bit of neutral cooking oil. I like to use a grill brush and then also 2 different spatulas, and you'll see why, because we're gonna need to fold those tacos and flip them in the right way, and you can't do that with your hands. Last but not least, we have corn tortillas. I've got 12 here. These are white corn. You can use yellow, whatever flavor you want. I've tried this with flour tortillas as well. They just fry up differently, but I'm doing them with corn today. All right, let's head outside. All right, so I've got the griddle preheating on about medium low. I don't want to go too high. Let's look at the station real quick. So on this side, I've got the tortillas. Over here, I've got all the rest of the ingredients for the filling. So that makes it just really easy to grab and go. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just brush a little bit of the oil onto the surface. It is a seasoned griddle, but I just wanna make sure that these fresh tortillas don't stick. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add them to the griddle. Remember, this is on about medium-low heat. And our only goal here is just to toast them for a little bit on each side. We're not trying to fully cook these. It just helps make them pliable. The last thing that you want is for your tortillas to rip when you're folding them in half. Okay, let's give these just a quick flip. And then in about 20 more seconds or so, we'll take them all off. Okay, let's go ahead and get these off. And then I'm gonna wrap them in the paper towel. That way they don't dry out as they cool off. Okay, I'm brushing a little bit more oil over here on this side too. And then we'll go ahead and get these veggies down. Okay, I'm gonna move the veggies aside for a second. We'll get this ground beef down. And kind of like a chopped cheese sandwich, I'm gonna push it down so that one side gets really seared, and then we'll chop it up. This is not an overly salty rub, so feel free to go heavy on it. Let's get all the veggies in here too. We've got everything chopped together. That's when you can add the tomato sauce. You just kind of incorporate that a little bit here too. That'll start to promote more browning and add some nice deep flavors. Let you guys criticize some of my larger onion cuts here. All right, this is pretty much ready to go, so I'm gonna turn the burner off because this griddle's still gonna be really hot and I just don't wanna overcook this. All right, so here's where the magic happens, and it's gonna happen pretty fast. So I'm gonna do a nice, generous brushing of oil. Brushing it just helps everything kind of coat evenly so it doesn't pool all in one place. But you do want a generous amount of oil on here because we're essentially going to shallow fry. Okay, at this point we got to kind of work fast because everything's going to fry, and we got to get the cheese and the beef on here and be able to flip them and crisp them up. So I'm going to get to work. So put the tortillas on the oil, spread out some of this cheese on each one of them. Try to even it out if you can. You can see the cheese is melting over here, and I'm not even done prepping the tacos. Let's just add a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the ground beef. Hopefully get it on one side of the taco. Like I said, this recipe is enough for about a dozen tacos. All right, so let's go ahead, and what I like to do is push in the middle and flip with the second spatula there to kind of close them off. Just like that. Push down and flip. So at this point, you can flip them if you want to. Just depends on how crispy that you want both sides. I like them both pretty crispy. There we go. Look at that cheese skirt. That's crazy. All right, at this point, we're just going to get them on the paper towel so that they can drain a little bit. We'll take them inside and fill them up. All right, now for plating and topping these. I know this might seem funny, but if you're gonna do a nice serving, it actually helps to put a little lettuce in the bottom so they don't all slide around on the plate. And you'll see, don't worry, we're gonna open these up and fill them with good stuff. It's just easier to get it set up this way first. See, the garnish actually has a purpose for once. You can see it's got a crispy shell on the outside and ooey gooey cheesy on the inside. I'm gonna fill this with some of my homemade chipotle salsa, and then we'll top this with some crispy lettuce and close her up. Look at that. Now we're gonna top with some crema. One of my favorite things to go on tacos. I don't want to put too much on, otherwise they'll get soggy. And then lots of queso fresco. All right, let's dig in. Look at all these toppings, the crispy cheese skirt. Dude, look at that. If that doesn't make you hungry, maybe you just don't like tacos. All right, enough staring at the plate. It's time to eat. Ah, the beard. There is no reason to buy a hard shell corn tortilla. These tacos are so easy to make. They're so crispy. You've got to try this. Hope you guys like the recipe. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.